let's talk about the benefits of taking a weekly cheat day when you're intermittent fasting. So when I was on my weight loss journey, I had lost about 15 pounds and I was feeling really frustrated. I was having trouble sticking to my plan. And at the beginning of 2016, I read a book called The 4-Hour Body by Tim Ferriss. And he suggested that in order to stick to your plan better, it was a good idea to take a cheat day. And this seemed really counterintuitive to me, but I kind of felt like, well, I've never tried this before because historically, I had always struggled with my weight. And the way it looked like was, I would be on a plan and then I would mess up. I would go off plan somehow or I'd just lose willpower. And then once I went off, I was off. There was like no getting back on. So I thought, well, it was worth a shot trying this cheat day thing. And so I started taking them in 2016. So I've been doing cheat days for 7 years now and I love them. I have found so many benefits because of them. So one problem I was facing with intermittent fasting was that it worked really well in my life, except for when it didn't. And for me, it was a weekly event that kept throwing me off track. And that was on Sunday mornings. My husband would very sweetly make me and the kids homemade pancakes for breakfast. So through the week, I could do intermittent fasting just fine. Like I could just, skip breakfast, eat, maybe lunch and then dinner. But on Sundays, it didn't work. And I struggled with it because I would try to I'll just have a little bit and then I'll just won't eat for the rest of the day until maybe a bigger meal in the evening. Or, I would just do all these things and it just wasn't working for me. There was just a lot of frustration. So when the idea of cheat day came along, it really fit perfectly. I thought, okay, I can just make Sunday be my day off. And, some people say well, I don't like the idea of a cheat day because I don't want to be cheating. And what I think of it as, instead of cheating, it's more just like a day off. It's a day off from fasting. So I just made that part of my plan. I'm going to do intermittent fasting Monday through Saturday, and then Sundays I'm going to take the day completely off from fasting. I can eat whatever I want and whenever I want on that day. Now, through the week, I was still eating whatever I wanted during my eating window, but on Sundays, I could eat however many times I wanted during the day. So in this video, I'm going to give you the top 10 benefits I found from having a weekly cheat day. Number one was it helped me to build consistency. So when I was doing intermittent fasting, when I really wasn't good at it, I needed something to kind of help motivate me. And so what helped motivate me was the idea that I can work hard, doing this intermittent fasting thing, Monday through Saturday, but then on Sunday, I just take the day off. I have a break from it. And that really worked, to have that reward at the end of the week. Number two, it gave me a much needed mental break. What I have found over the course of years of doing intermittent fasting is that it can kind of just wear on you mentally. I mean, it can be like anything else that you kind of get tired of. And so to have that break every week, to know that on Sunday you have that day off, just that day of variety, it's helpful. There are some things that maybe seem silly, like why should that even be a mental challenge, but that were for me. For example, just the fact that I was not eating breakfast kind of wore on me after a while. And it wasn't just the missing breakfast foods, because I would have breakfast for dinner sometimes. It was the actual, I miss sometimes just eating breakfast in the morning. And to have my cheat day meant that I could have breakfast one day a week. And that's all I really needed. Number three, it helped me to learn how to delay gratification. I was certainly doing this just by practicing intermittent fasting because I was learning how to delay gratification until my eating window opened up. But by having that weekly cheat day, it helped me to have, a bigger kind of stretch of time where I was delaying gratification. There would be just some certain things that didn't really fit with my eating window, especially when I got down to OMAD, 1 meal a day. There were certain foods that just kind of didn't work. For example, a turkey sandwich. I would be doing my, fasting thing, and I would see my husband eating a turkey sandwich. And for some reason, in that moment, it seemed like that was the most delicious thing ever, and why couldn't I have it? Because it didn't really work for an OMAD type of a meal. I need something that really will stick to my ribs, and a sandwich just ain't gonna cut it. But because I was taking a cheat day, I could tell myself, okay, look, you can have that sandwich on Sunday. And so that helped me to learn how to just delay things. And that was very helpful because what I found with weight loss was that's a whole process of just delayed gratification, because you have to work and put forth effort, for weeks and weeks, or maybe even months at a time before you even really start to see progress. Number four, it prepares you for longer periods of time where you're not going to be fasting. I remember once I got good at intermittent fasting, I started to feel very nervous about the idea of going on vacation, because I kind of thought, oh no, what am I going to do? But then I reminded myself, I've been taking a cheat day every week, and that gave me a lot of peace. And the fact is, when I go on vacation, vacation, I am with my family and I am fully participating in whatever they do, including the eating. So, most of the time on vacation, that's mostly what you do, right? Is you eat. So, we get up and we have breakfast together, and then usually we go do something, and then we'll have lunch together. And, usually at night, you're snacking around. And I wanted to fully participate in that. And what I found was cheat day prepared me for that, because I was doing that every week in a way. I was taking, one day out of the week to kind of have like a little mini vacation. And I saw that I wasn't like destroying myself when I would have that day off. I kind of think about it like letting off a little bit of steam every week, because otherwise, if you never get a day off, then it just keeps building and building. And then when you finally do go off, plan, it can just kind of be this catastrophe. But instead, if you're just every week learning how to do this, it's not such a big deal. Number 5 was it was training me to learn how to get back on plan after having been off of it. The thing is if you've never gone off plan and then one day you just mess up or maybe just life happens, something that's out of your control and you're not on your plan, it can be really difficult to get back on plan the next day. It can just be intimidating. But every week, because I'm taking a cheat day, I was practicing, kind of going off plan, or at least not fasting one day and then going right back to it on Monday. So it just gave me that practice. And so it never feels like a big deal if I have to take a day off or take several days off. Because I've done it so much, it doesn't feel like a big deal to get back on plan. Number 6 is that it helps keep you humble. When you take a day off every week, it can just help remind you that you're not perfect. You're not the perfect intermittent faster. And I found that really helpful, because in the past I have really struggled with perfectionism. And I'm still a work in progress, but cheat days really have helped me with that. I've found there's some real power in breaking your streak every week on purpose so that you never build this really, really big streak that can really become a burden. Number 7 is that it helps intermittent fasting fit in your life just a little bit easier. For me, it was the pancake breakfast, but I think a lot of people have this similar kind of challenge where through the week it's really easy, but on the weekends, that's when, you can get tripped up. So cheat day can really help with that. Number 8 is that it helps you to compare your life with fasting and without fasting on a weekly basis. And it can prevent that idealizing of either way that can happen if you're only doing one. If you're only ever fasting, it's easy to start to think, oh, life when you're not fasting, that's just so much easier and so much better. Or vice versa, like, oh, I hated my life before I was fasting, when really it's the truth that I think is somewhere in the middle. Like, I really enjoy fasting, but I also really enjoy days where I'm not fasting. There are advantages and disadvantages to both. Number 9 is that it prevents a lot of resentment. Like if you are fasting all the time and you are constantly around people who are not fasting, you can, or at least I can, start to feel resentful of the fact that, I'm fasting and they're not fasting, and that's kind of not fair. But having that day off a week helped to, first of all, just remind me like, oh yeah, like it's not such a big deal. and I really do enjoy fasting in general. It's just nice to have that day of normalcy. And number 10 is that it helps you to learn that you can learn to eat the appropriate amount of food, even if you're not fasting. Over the course of time, my cheat day has evolved. In the beginning, I felt like I really, it was important to me, like I really needed it. And these days, like, I don't find it to be like something that I feel like, oh, I just can't wait till cheat day. Because, through the week, I can be pretty loosey-goosey with my plan and still maintain in the 140s, which is what my goal is. But I still continue to take that day off, again, because it's just easy, and why not? So right now, if you're not taking a cheat day, but you're having trouble with consistency, you might want to try taking a day off every week. I certainly found it helpful. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.